live.
I'm always like, I'm trying to anticipate your hand movements, even though I can't because I can't see you. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Like
and then I'm
I should be like counting with my fingers even though you can't see me at all.
yes, yes, that's yeah, that's it. Oh God, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Hello, everyone. How's everything doing? Welcome to another episode of Livebrush. I am Ray Bonilla, and I'm going to turn it over to the person on my left hand side.
I
Uh,
Oh, keep turning it over.
no, yeah. So, because I just realized I think I have like two cameras set up. So I got to
You got
shut
too
off
many
one of them.
cameras. You got too many
Yeah,
cameras
too
over
many.
there. It's like a television studio. I'm Tyler Jacobson. I'm the other guy on this stream that we do. And we're gonna be working on personal work again this time. I'm just still messing around from last week. I hadn't figured it out. I'm going to keep doing little sketches like this until I do. I usually can't figure out a composition in a couple hours. So, what about you, Ray?
Is
What are
that
you
right?
working on?
I am going to be working on putting color on this painting, this underpainting that I have. So,
Excellent.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm really excited about that. And I'll be showing you. I'll be doing some little glazing, but mostly over painting, treating this almost like a pastel almost. So
Okay,
doing
so
a lot of
what? So
straight color.
before the stream, excuse me. Before the stream, I saw you kind of rubbing stuff all over this painting. What were you doing there?
Oh,
For the chat, so people understand.
yeah. It's for the chat. Yeah. So I was rubbing this stuff
I
over.
know
It's
what you were doing,
called
but
Liquid Fine Detail. Yeah. And it is just a medium that I rubbed over the painting to get it ready to accept oil paint and also to speed up the drying time.
oh man,
So this
so
is
you just going straight with that, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm just going straight with that. So I mean, like back in the day when we learned how to do it, it was we would mix up the put liquid into the paint itself, right, and then glaze. I forgot how we did it.
Um, I don't know, man. Bill Mon would
Oh.
recall him like just oiling out with straight regular liquid original. And every
Right,
time I've ever tried to do that, it gets way too tacky, way too quick. So
right.
I the reason why I asked you this is because if I'm gonna oil out with stuff, I use something that has like a solvent in it, like something that's almost mostly solvent. Like I'll mix liquid fine detail with Winsor Newton, brought to you by Winsor Newton. I'll use Winsor Newton's artist medium, which has solvent in it, and then I'll oil out with that
Oh,
because
okay. So
I find that the fine detail and the regular liquid original are they just get way too tacky too quick for me.
oh, well, I mean, I use yeah, it's a super thin amount, and I keep it super thin as possible. Like I apply it with a makeup sponge or a makeup wedge, uh, which is a let's see if I got this guy right
Hey,
here.
Nicole creates. Welcome. First time. First time.
Oh,
First time viewer.
Nicole.
I wonder if that's the
There you
Nicole
go.
that you and I know.
I'm pretty sure it is. Nicole creates says hi.
Oh yeah, you're using a little makeup sponge there. Those are expensive, dude.
They ain't expensive, Tyler. Stop being cheap.
Ray
You
uses
get like 70.
sponges that you can only get in the Alps in northern
Right.
Italy.
They're just it's just the import export taxes on them are not that the tariffs aren't that bad on them.
The tariffs. Yeah. Well, right now, I mean, this economy.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh. Hey, Bruce. Hey, I know Bruce. Bruce is a good guy. Great painter, everybody. Check out Bruce's stuff too.
Dude, this is great. This is great, man. I love having these artists
It
come
is
by, man.
Nicole. All right. Hey, Nicole. How's it going?
Yeah, that's hey Nicole. Hey, I don't know. I've never met Bruce, but if you are, geez, I mean everyone, if you got art to share, feel free to share it in your in the chat too. So we can get some community cross community stuff. So it's all about sharing the love here.
Yeah, for sure. Please post your stuff. All right. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to keep fumbling around with this
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
not
So what do you
there.
do? So you're still fumbling? Is this what is? I mean, like, you pulled this on me like right before we went on stream.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, hey, Ray, guess what? I'm still, I'm still working on it. I just hadn't have any time this week to nail the thing down that I wanted. So I'm just going to keep working on it. And these, you know,
Dude.
these people are just going to have to wait.
I mean,
No, I mean it's not
it's
waiting. You get to watch me doodle. I mean that's got to
well
be
that's
really entertaining, right?
well okay. I'm gonna
No, give it to me
it's
straight.
great that you're bringing this up. Because this is like what most of it the process is like. It's just you fumble like us as artists fumbling through trying to get an idea down. If it's just like yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just like, oh, it's just writing up. That sucks. Okay, next. Like no one really wants to watch that. That's why most demos are like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, it's like a
I'm gonna
head
do something.
painting.
Yeah, I've prepared this already. Or if they do like a illustration, it's all rehearsed.
Oh, you mean
It's all,
like a Cirque du Soleil show or something?
yeah, yeah. No, no. So that's real. That's right. That's as it
I
happens,
like that you
man.
said yeah though. Like you initially like yeah. It's exactly like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh man. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep fumbling with this. I'm not gonna create excuses. It's not working. I'm gonna make it work. This is what you got to do in illustration, folks.
Just yeah, in general, when you wanna I'm gonna be just searching a lot. I should do. I do a lot of that stuff. I mean, for my gallery work, it's mostly it's that like that's me in Photoshop with my references. I'm like doing different value composition patterns and schemes and color schemes, and it's just like it's super boring and like tedious because you just think that like, well, there's something there, but I just haven't found it yet. So I should do that one day. Show everyone how I do that. Um, but it's not primetime TV, so
Well,
it's
I
not good
mean,
enough for Twitch.
yeah, I feel like there's a certain value though in. I mean, there is in like demos that are not time lapse, right? Like where
Yeah.
you see the artist work every minute of it, and people want that content. So um, I don't know. Maybe there is value in people seeing us struggle through all these things. But the problem is, it's only like 2 hours. It's hard for us to show them every inch of our own process. Maybe that's what I'm
Do you
gonna
know?
do here.
Well, I was thinking about that. Uh, like, oh, 2 hours, man. It's not a lot of time. And David Finch, right? I think we talked about a stream.
Yeah, I think we have. But every
Yeah.
time you
So
say him, I feel like you're about to say David
David
Fincher, and I'm
Fincher.
like,
Yeah.
dude, I know who David Fincher is. He's one of my favorite directors. You don't have to tell me every time. You know David Finch, right? But then I know you're talking about someone else, and then my
I like
brain's
how
slow.
I like that's how your brain goes. Just instant, like you just think it's like an insult to your
Yeah. Oh, here Ray goes again, insulting me.
yeah, about like yeah. You might not know Leonardo da Vinci, but have you heard of him before? So David Finch, period. Um, he's got a stream Mondays on YouTube. It's like Monday Night Draw or something like that, and like Homeboy's busting out like fully rendered pen and ink pieces. It just finished. It's like incredible. Sometimes he takes two streams. Oh, you know,
a whole two
but
streams.
a whole two streams, dude,
I
right?
mean,
And
is he?
so
How long is he streaming for though?
that's
We
like
don't want
maybe
you guys
two
to go.
hours.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, you can go.
We
You
gotta
can
get
go to a
better.
stream. It's not now. I mean, he's not busting out the color and stuff. I mean, he did some paintings here and there, and he, it was going a lot slower. But it's just because he doesn't really paint,
And it might just
as
be a
much as he
matter of
does.
like I'm not used to even though we did even though we did those 99 episodes for
Right.
the lost season 3, but I still haven't got the practice yet of monitoring OBS and looking at the chat and talking to you and drawing.
Yeah, Dave Finch does all that stuff, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, he's got practice. He's got the practice.
Yeah, and also I think those comic guys are absurdly fast.
Right, right. They've got the training.
You know, and he's also David Finch.
David Fincher.
What?
Yeah.
No, not Dave. Dude, he did a fucking Moon Knight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, New Avengers, and you would know him if you saw him. But I saw him do a gunslinger Spawn, and I like
Oh,
scrubbed ahead because it's like and I'm like, oh, sick, and it's like finished. I'm like, okay, so he probably had everything kind of like almost finished, and then he's just sort of tickling it here and there, as he's methodically working and answering questions. Nope, homeboy had his sketch. He was like, yeah, 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 and then he had stopped. He would stop in the middle and do like these crazy drawings explaining folds. Like, you want to know about folds around legs? Okay, here, let's draw all the muscles of the legs first. And I was like, what? And then
wow.
he would just flip the board. It was on the same page. Sometimes it would be on the same Bristol board. So
Listen,
then he
everyone
flipped
in
it
the
back.
chat. You're not going to get content like that here. It's not going to happen.
Special
No,
effects, man.
we could actually. That'd be kind of cool if we did a. Um, I don't know, like a less of a us working on stuff and more us showing techniques. I mean, we've done a little bit, but we could do whole sections where we go over techniques.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we were doing that stuff. I mean, you had done stuff for, uh, you know, uh, when we were doing the portraits.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
was the
That's
one that
true.
was taking the extra. I think originally it was supposed to be like, dude, we just, just do just a simple portrait, one and done, 2 hours. We could bang it out. And I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then I realized, like, no, 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 no. I don't know what I'm doing.
I was doing fine, doing banging out portraits. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, hey, so Dr. Mondo 7 said, that's why I like your Instagrams with all the artists you were sharing. Oh, that's awesome. That's nice of you. Um,
Yeah, Ray's on top of that, man. He handles that, and he's really good at it.
it's just, it's called just eating my daily slice of humble pie. There's so much good stuff out there. And I'm just like, oh, like,
That stuff gets
so
me
good.
excited, though, man. Like I'm always,
Oh, me too.
yeah. I mean, I know it does for you. I know some people like they
Yeah.
can't look at that kind of stuff. It demoralizes them or whatever. But I love seeing what's going on out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you and I are both fans of art, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I
I
don't
like
know if
it. I think
they're.
I like
I've,
it.
you and I have both met artists that are like, we wonder if they're fans of art.
Yeah, I
Like,
have. I've met some that don't like their work professionally, and they don't know any artists. Like they don't know what's going on in the industry, which is weird.
yeah. That's you risk being left behind pretty quickly when things shift and change.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest scare part is
Yeah,
you just yeah, it's gonna be the whole industry is gonna be gone.
yeah.
By the
I don't
time you
want
look
to dunk
up.
on. Well, I don't want to dunk on other artists or anything like that. But I mean, like we've seen like Society of Illustrated illustration annuals, where like in the '90s, and you could pick out the artists that you could tell like when they saw their when they showed up to the show opening with their artwork hanging up, they were like, "I'm gonna live forever," and like, dude, I don't know if you're even working now.
Yeah, yeah.
He had, he had like a 8 year career. Uh, so
I
that's
think
always
who was saying that? Somebody was saying that. I can't remember who said it. I don't want to misquote anyone, but some artist I remember we might have been talking to him at the same time. We're talking about how like if you get an award, there's a lot of artists that have like gotten an award and then they just vanish from
yeah.
from the work
I
because
know
they're
that
like
was
did it.
yeah. I know that was that was Greg, Captain Greg Manchus.
Oh, Greg said that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Greg said that. He's like, yeah, I knew this guy won a gold, and that was it. Never saw him again.
Oh, Captain, my
And but
captain.
by gold we mean gold medal from the Society of Illustrators, which is like a was the oldest institution of American illustration. And back in the day, it was like the only place to really see what was like the cutting edge of illustration. One of the few places, I should say. It used to be the only. So art directors would just scour that all the time, and they would honor artists. They still do. Um, honor artists. With awards and stuff, but it's a whole juried process, international submissions, and it's pretty crazy. Um, but so that's what we're talking about. So you'll see them in your local library if you live in the states. You might. I don't know. You probably won't. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean it's hard
Oh
to.
yeah, you're not gonna see them in your local library at all.
What's a library?
I
There's
gotta check.
yeah, there seems to be like a decreasing amount of those kinds of publications. Oh man, none of this is working at all. Everyone, watch me struggle.
Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just
Where'd you
off
go?
camera. Oh my damn! The chat is not scrolling. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So Dr. Mondo says I have deja vu every week. You say that. Nicole creates that says we need to see artists make mistakes to fumble to work out ideas in real time. It's probably more valuable than anything else that you could see. Yeah, Nicole. But the problem is we don't make mistakes.
Yeah, never have.
So
Been a great piece every time, every painting.
that's a problem. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. That's the that's where you learn a lot of this stuff. I was watching Sterling Hunley by any chance, Tyler?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he was doing a demo for Visual Arts Passage for a Studio Bridge, and he was working on a poster that he was coming up for the Lion King. No, not the Lion King, the Jungle Book, the original, based off the original book that the Jungle Book was based off of.
Was that the one that Andy Serkis directed?
No, that was like Jungle Book Part 4 or something like that. I don't know if it was. I thought he directed like a sequel or something like that.
Well, there
That
was one that John
was
Favreau did that was like the live
right,
action Jungle Book. With Disney's like line of live action stuff. It's irrelevant.
right.
Neither here nor there. Go on, go on.
Um, Also, Andy Serkis was like, but he used like John Favreau's stage and everything like that. Did they use the same tech?
They were both doing motion capture stuff, yeah, but they released one was called Mowgli and one was called The Jungle Book.
Right.
They
Also, they
just
had
were like
nothing to do
being
with
done at the
the
same time and had nothing to do. One was Disney, one
uh,
was not.
just Netflix, right?
I think it was Netflix, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, see, I didn't know that. Yeah. So he was doing this, and he was doing thumbnails, And he's like, I wanted to see, I wanted you to see this real time. He was telling everyone, and it's just like he was fumbling through ideas, and like this is a brilliant illustrator, and he's just coming. He's doing like these crazy word associations and coming up with these incredible things. But these, the sketches were working sketches. It was like, okay, that doesn't work. This, and this, and like, all of us, all the other illustrators in the faculty that were in the chat, especially Dale Stefanos. I don't know if you know Dale's work. It's incredible. Portrait artist. Um,
I'm not
yeah,
too
he's
familiar, but I'll look him
unbelievable.
up.
Oh yeah, Sports Illustrated and this like caricature stuff. And anyways, Dale's fantastic. He did what's his face from Rolling Stones. That's what I shared a charcoal drawing he had done
Oh yeah,
oh my god, what's his face? Not Mick Jagger. Dude, who's the guitarist extraordinaire?
oh Keith
Why
Richards,
am I? Keith Richards. Jesus,
dude, never do that again.
I know. I fumbled for the first time in my life. Thanks, Nicole.
It's really tripped you up.
Yeah. So yeah, so it was. Dale was like, "This is like he was trying to tell everyone in this live chat. Is like this is the stuff. This is the actual what like a live version of what it actually it's like a perfect simulation of someone actually working on something. Like this is where you're gonna learn the most. So
Yeah, and I think
it's
that
all about
we've probably talked about this like 100 times on the show, but it
yeah,
is good. It is ultimately like super valuable for people to see um, that like because social media these days. I keep leaning over to my mic. That's dumb. Social media these days, they make it seem like artists just create amazing stuff, and no one really posts their fumbles, except for right now. We posted Ray's fumble. No one really posts
we'll
their.
edit that in post.
Yeah, we'll edit it out. Um, no one posts the stuff that didn't work, that weren't successful. So it's always, it gives this illusion that, just like speed time lapses give this illusion that that's how fast they did it, or that's how flawlessly they did it.
Right.
So it's great to see the flaws. Simple as that.
Yeah. No, yeah. I agree. I agree. And just
Oh
oh
yeah,
man.
I agree.
I think
Nick
ideas
Nick
that
DeLuca just mentioned Evan Amundsen. That guy's
oh
absolutely
my
amazing.
god. Well that talk about somebody who doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah,
That
he's
dude
he's got
is
that like Kim Jong Gi quality to him.
yeah. The Kim Jong Jean.
Kim Jong Jin.
Whoa.
Whoa. Trademark.
Uh, yeah, trademark Livebrush.
Trademarked
F in the
here.
chat. If you're F in the chat if you're a lawyer that can help us with trademarking.
Yeah, that's pretty simple. I think you just have to say it.
Did I tell you that Kim Jong Gi? I showed you that one
Yeah,
time
yeah,
randomly that Kim Jong Gi liked my post of my painting. I was
yeah,
like,
yeah. No,
Tyler.
it was like when Nichelle Nichols was liking
Oh my
everything.
god. Yeah. Did we tell everyone that?
I don't know if we did, but we should.
Well, I gotta tell the story. It's because I think it's like it. In the end, it doesn't mean anything but it's so cool for us because we're huge Star Trek fans, especially of Star Trek One.
No, no,
Um.
no, no, no. Well, you know what? I'll let you keep going. I'll let you keep going. We can address that in a
Well,
minute.
okay.
Star Trek
So
One concept.
or TOS. I'm a huge fan of TOS. So, um, I was so we both did on the first season paintings. You can actually go see it on YouTube on demand. Uh, portraits of Nichelle Nichols in Star Trek. We had wanted you would do like a whole series of like action movies, like women in action movies, right?
Yeah, because I did Sigourney Weaver, and I only got to two because I just didn't. We didn't continue down that road. I got to bring it back, but I was gonna do like Sarah Connor, but I did Uhura. That was like the second one I did after Sigourney from Aliens.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, yeah. Go
it
ahead. Go
was
ahead.
like, well, so we did these uh it was like a basically a project. It's us painting from the same exact reference, right? Is that what we had
Yeah,
done?
yeah. That's what we did.
And so we painted it from completely different techniques, like approaches and everything like that. Long story short, I send it out. I shared it on Instagram, and I tagged Nichelle Nichols. Like it was like a year and a half, over a year ago, more than one, And I was like, hey, I did this, not expecting anything. And then it was like a couple of weeks ago. Um, I got a direct message from Nichelle Nichols saying, I didn't see it," and it's like she must have just checked it uh, at that point because I'm sure she gets crazy
She's
amount of
got to get
messages on it.
millions of messages.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sure like she has a handler for that. I mean, she's or maybe not. I don't know, but I would
Granted,
imagine. So.
I mean, I assume she has a handler, but like she's got to be pretty dang busy, right? I don't know. Go ahead. Go on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm like, this can't really be Nichelle Nichols like who's saying this, right? And I, tweet. Yeah, I'd be like check the Instagram handle, and it's like, yeah, I'm looking at she posted a live story of her getting a medal from NASA like 5 minutes before sending me that message, and I'm
So
like,
she's waiting around for NASA to get the medal to her, and she's checking out her Instagram. That's what I mean.
boom,
Simple as that, right?
get get it polished, get it. She sent it back to get it polished more. And so I quickly like, I was like 8 minutes. It had been like I noticed it. I didn't notice it immediately. So 8 minutes had transpired between the time she had checked it. I was like, oh my god, my door is closing. If it hasn't closed already, it's like I'm gonna have to wait another year. Um, and so she, so I sent it. I sent it. I found the image, sent it out again. I'm like, this is what it looked like. And
Please come back.
she was like, oh, yeah. I was like, and then she shared it on Instagram, and I was like, telling Tyler, I'm like, right. I was telling you, I was like, oh my god, oh shit, like Nichelle Nichols shared my Aurora painting, and
And I'm immediately like, well, shit. I wanted to share mine.
it set Tyler into a scramble
Yeah, and then
to
I had to
find
do. I
his.
had to find mine. I don't think she shared it for like a few days.
No, but she did though. She shared it that same day.
Oh, was it the same day? I felt like it was like
Yeah.
a week later or something. But hell
Oh my
yeah.
god, you had to wait a week instead of a year and a
So
half.
yeah, now I'm like a big fan of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which I didn't think was gonna happen.
You're just a Nichelle Nichols super fan all of a sudden.
Now
Yeah.
I love the original series. I've always liked the original series. Don't get me wrong. Everyone in the chat, please don't jump on me. I'm just not a big. I've never been a big fan
Well,
of.
I'm gonna let me finish my story
Okay,
first.
okay, go ahead, go ahead.
I send this thing out and I say thank you, and I say, I'm humbled. You're an inspiration. Like all this stuff. I'm just really nice and really cool. I'm not gonna like bother her. And then she said thanks, and I
Simple,
was like,
short and
wow.
sweet.
I had a message back and forth with either Nichelle Nichols or the person handling Nichelle Nichols' account, who was probably reading her the message. In my fantasy world, she was typing me back, and I was like, "Cool, that's so cool."
I love it, man. It was amazing, and it blew me away.
But yeah, so I'm good. That's a wrap for Livebrush.
Yeah,
Period.
we're just gonna call it there. Call it there. We're only
I don't
30
need
minutes
this.
into this episode. Let's call it.
I don't need this. I don't need this show. I'm going to Hollywood. I'm gonna move to Hollywood now.
Be in more Star Trek movies if they ever make them.
What was it? What was the thing that Bruce Campbell called when you move to LA and
The Spores.
the spores? He contracted
Oh
spores.
yeah, and is one of my favorite books of all time is a book called. If you guys don't know this, it's called "If Chins Could Kill." It's Bruce Campbell's autobiography, But he talks about going to Hollywood and how everyone has the quote unquote spores, the brain spores. And I'm not sure exactly what he means by it, in that I think he just thinks like everyone's there to become super famous. Just kind of like something David Cross goes over in his stand up. Oh, we got a question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep track of the chat here. Sorry.
Okay. What's the
Oh,
question?
when do I just give up on a? Okay, this is from Lord Adornable. When do I just give up on a piece that simply doesn't work, no matter how much I fumble with it? Um, Often. I've already given up on two of these guys. I'm going even smaller. So yeah, it happens a lot actually. I think I throw out more initial sketches. Gosh, I want to say it's like 20, maybe close to 20. Yeah, let's say between 10 and 20 sketches that don't work before I get to one that does. And this is for like stuff like magic cards or something. Um, that happens a lot because it's just like me fumbling with the composition to make it work. What about you, Ray? How many pieces
Well,
you throwing out?
I mean, I like in terms of like, I rarely at this point, early on, I used to give up on a lot of pieces because they just were, always would get in over my head. But, it was like early on in the career, and, or like a painting would just stay on my easel forever. And I just like, okay, I don't know how to finish this. So a lot of that stuff was happened really early on. I'll only, you know, but when it comes to like I shoot a ton of reference and stuff, and most of those I have tons of ideas that I just fire through, and I'm like, nope, that was, I had this great idea, and I would spend time on it, getting the reference prepped and doing all these things, just in Photoshop, and it didn't work out, and I would just be okay with abandoning it. But it was always early on, and I think just experience has taught me like catch all of that stuff now, because as early as you can, because you don't want to really go into your final, at least I don't, with like all these questions, especially when I'm on a deadline, which I am constantly on.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. I think I throw out a lot of stuff in this like thumbnails and thumbnail stage. I
right.
Like Ray is saying, I rarely get to, just like he does, and I rarely get into painting without knowing what's going to happen. It's super rare, unless I've just rushed and hadn't been thinking about it, and then I'm like, I should have done more prep, and then I have to wrestle with the piece a little bit more. But I don't. That rarely happens anymore. It's
Right.
it's in this stage, like right here, that I'm in, where I throw tons of stuff out because there's
So
like a lot of stuff that you iterate. Back in the day, what?
back in the day, you and I used to, I mean, I would get myself in trouble all the time.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, I'm like, this is going to be great. I don't need a sketch. I like the
Mm-hmm.
drawing's good enough. It's just like a scribble. Or like, yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like you never do.
there's so much of that. It's like you have to reset your brain and tell yourself, hey, I get up in the morning and I put stuff on, like I put clothes on, I do all my prep in the morning to go do the things that I'm going to do. But if I skip any of those steps, you're walking out the door undressed. So you just have to keep it in that mindset of like, I just have to do all the regular steps that I would, and I'll get here and it'll be fine. You think about it like just your daily routine. Do all the steps. Don't walk out the door naked, unless you're into that. That's what you want to do.
There we go.
Words of
That
wisdom.
if that's not like the T-shirt or sweater that we should sell merch-wise for this season, the catchphrase, then I don't know what is.
That's the thing, man. I've been trying to figure out what that's going to be. So I'm going to be throwing out all kinds of crazy stuff so that we can find that T-shirt design.
Oh god.
So you're going to be hearing
So
some bananas ass shit. Pardon my French. Coming over here.
dude, I swore like about 4 times, and I
Yeah.
almost
You
thought,
usually don't swear on this, man. What's going on? You have a
no, I
rough day?
don't. I don't. No, I think I'm just tired. I'm,
It's all right. When I put it on YouTube, I say it's not for kids.
That's good. You know.
Only because
Uh,
I think I don't know enough about YouTube posting, but there's two options: it is for kids or it isn't for kids, and
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
I know
like
what
this.
you're talking
That
about.
means it's going to pop up in the YouTube Kids channel. I'm assuming. So I
Yeah,
just say
Livebrush.
no, it's
No,
not for kids, and we swear sometimes, and we talk about movies that kids probably shouldn't be watching, or should they? I don't know. That's a whole different debate.
but well, but we talk about movies that kids should be watching, but which we initially watched when we were kids.
Oh yeah, I rented when I was way too young to watch it. I'd say three movies in a row that we rented that we were like 7 and 8. My brother and I. Predator, shouldn't have been watching that when I was 7. Um,
Nope.
Pet Cemetery, definitely shouldn't have
Oh
been watching that when I was
oh
7.
my God.
And the original
Oh my
television It.
Tyler.
Yeah, so explains why I'm in the industry I'm in now.
Yeah. 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 Oh my God.
I'm
Wow.
sure you watched some crazy crap when you were a kid.
No. No. No.
We had this like it was when we lived in Illinois, when we were stationed in Illinois when I was a kid. My dad was military, so we moved around a lot. But there was this movie store, a lot like Clerks kind of movie store, with like a Randall type character. Um, and they didn't care. They did not care what we rented. And we're like little teeny kids just in there. We're like, whoa, what's this? What's Evil Dead?
Wow.
Boy, we found out.
Wow. Wow. That I went to a local movie shop one time, and my mom let me pick out a movie, and it was like this local place, and I was like, wow, this has all stuff that Blockbuster Video doesn't have, because we used to go to Blockbuster a lot because of video games, um, and so I was like, what's this? I'm like, oh my God, they made a live action movie of the Toxic Avenger. I love that cartoon series. Dude, I rented that thing and I started watching it and I was like, what is going on here? It's just
That movie's
I was I
bananas, man.
dude, I'm like, how is this even related? But then I found out later on that it was, so
It
yeah,
was,
so I in Tromaville, baby, that was my first experience to it. Yeah, so now I'm like, oh man, you know, Tromaville is just nuts. It's over the top. I don't mind it anymore. I think it's awesome.
I mean,
But yeah,
I like over the top stuff. I like
I like it
cool.
now. I like a lot of independent. I like the idea of just getting. I appreciate it. It's like I'm not like a diehard fan, but I appreciate the schlock. Uh, a lot more. But yeah, I didn't know any better. But no, I watched all the Rambos and stuff, so you know, uh, and we never rented them because they appeared in randomly in these VHSs that were just
Oh yeah,
written with handwritten labels.
yeah, yeah. I
I
know,
don't
I know what you're talking about.
so yeah. So
Black market
yeah,
VHS
black
tapes.
white, yeah. I grew up with movies like I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Uh huh.
Uh,
Classic.
I, I remember finding in my parents' cabinet Kentucky Fried Movie, and I watched that. Like I'm just like laughing at like what this is crazy. Um, I think let's see, Batteries Not Included. Do you remember that movie,
Oh man, totally.
dude? That was
That
like one of
was
my
a
favorite movies
Spielberg
growing up.
movie.
Oh, yeah, man, Drew Struzan
Good
did
juice, yeah.
the
Great juice, juice and cover.
yeah.
Cover. What? It's not a cover. Why am I calling it a cover?
I don't know why. I don't even know why he said that. Drew, if you're watching,
Sorry, Drew.
yep, that was Tyler. So if you want to replace him, we'd be more than happy to bring you on.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'd happily bow out if you're bringing in Strusen onto this show. I'll bow right out.
Dude, he's the best. He's the best. Let's see here.
We could probably do a whole podcast about Drew Struzan.
We could. we could totally, like, yeah, like, yeah, yeah. He's great. But yeah, so movies were. I think Batteries Not Included was like the lightest it got. With the movies that I had seen. Because I think I saw Predator, for sure. And Bruce says definitely watched Death Becomes Her as a kid and shouldn't have. He had little
Oh
shot
man,
powers.
great
Oh
movie
my
though,
god.
killer movie.
Yeah. Oh my God. So Rex Verdi said, I drove by the New York Toy Show back when the cartoon premiered, and they had a guy in a foam mascot suit dressed up as Toxie, and I was truly confused as to how they were going to make that movie into a kid's cartoon.
They did that a lot though. They nerfed a lot of stuff.
Dude, but the Toxic Avenger,
Yeah, no, I don't.
I don't know.
That's a weird. That was a. That must have been a weird meeting. Like, well, we'll make this for kids.
Well,
All
I
right.
think, yeah, I think, was it Lloyd? Oh my God, the creator of the Toxic Avenger, and Lloyd something. Had said, I think when they had talked about it, they, like, this was like back in the day when, like, they were just it was just toys, 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 toys. Like, cartoons were basically just 30-minute advertisements for toys. Um, they came to him and was like, "Yeah, we love, Toxic Avenger. That sounds cool. Let's just make it into a thing." And he was like, "Have you actually even seen?" It's like, "No." And then here's a bunch of money. He's like, "Sweet."
Yeah, that's got to
And
be that.
so
Like the company
that's
saw the
got to be
character and they're like, "Oh, this would be cool as a toy. Let's do it." He's like a swamp man. Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. Cool, 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 cool,
Tox-
cool. Do it, do it, do it.
right, right, right. Toxic Crusader. That's what they called it, right? The Toxic Crusader. Yeah, right. Because the event Toxic Avenger was too risky. You know. God. Wow. Wow. Oh my God.
When I mean the
Yeah.
biggest
Those.
like eye opener for me, I mean, it wasn't Toxic Avenger, but we got like a bunch of the GI Joe comics, and I remember my brothers like
Oh.
reading through them because we were into the toys and the television show. We didn't even know there were comics. And this is like
Right.
we're talking like 1989 that like my brother picks up a whole bunch of um, GI Joe comics, and he's like, "Man, characters die in here." I'm like, "What? The GI Joes die?" He's like, "Yeah, this character's dead and this character's dead." And I'm like, "What the heck?" Because no one dies in GI Joe. Then the
Wow.
parachutes always come out.
That's right. You're right. The parachutes always do come out. Wow. And nobody shoots bullets either.
Yeah, it's all
It's always like
lasers.
weird. Yeah. And they basically just shoot it around the person until they give up and run away. All right.
Yeah,
So
they like they definitely nerfed that stuff for us kids.
there you go. Monkey Ass says, I have a couple of figures from Cadillacs and Dinosaurs somewhere. The 90s were weird. Dude, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. You remember that one?
Dude, I do. I remember that.
Xena, based off Xenozoic Tales, man. Mark Schultz.
I
It's awesome.
some of that stuff that came out, man. I wish we still had it.
That's like, yeah. Well, people were, it was like the 90s, man. It was crazy.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, pretty much. Right? I mean, it's just like, that's the old Marvel Action Hour. I love those cartoons.
Well, and there was
Iron
like I
Man,
feel like there was a
54.
tail end of coming out of the '80s where they just made whatever the heck they wanted.
Yeah, yeah. It was a beautiful implosion, you know. They they just, yeah, it was incredible. Uh oh my God. Have you ever heard all the great Larry Hama stories, Tyler? Monkey ass asked.
No, no, I haven't at all.
Now, Larry
Yeah,
Hama,
fill us in.
is it did Larry Hama work on like He-Man and all that stuff? Like, I think about the right person.
I
For oh man.
let's see.
Oh no, he was
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
writer for the
that's right.
G.I. Joe comics. Oh right.
No, I've heard a little bit about. The only thing I've heard, at least from him, was that he was like, I think it was him, maybe it wasn't, but like super pissed off about the movie, about the GI Joe movie, because they made up this whole like crazy Cobra Law. Wow, this is inside baseball stuff here, folks. But they made up all this crazy stuff that was not in GI Joe canon for the movie, like the weird alien monsters and stuff.
That was a big twist, though. They had to team up.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler. Everyone, go watch GI Joe movie.
That's crazy. What do we, it's like worried about canon, right? It's like, oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
people are worried about some things. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, man. A Battletech, the cartoon series, was considered canon for the longest time in the universe.
In the
I don't know if
BattleTech
you know.
universe?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh
It
wow,
was considered canon. Yeah, and then
I
they
liked it.
they
I always
retconned
liked
it.
it. So
I loved it. I love that, man.
still
It
Godzilla,
was
but
like, oh, Macross basically, and yeah, but Godzilla and Macross and Ultraman. Ultraman. That's good stuff. Oh my god, that is yeah. That was yeah. I gotta see. My gal said I highly suggest googling your way through the Larry Hama rabbit hole if you enjoyed GI Joe.
yeah,
That's funny.
absolutely.
Yeah. The Christopher Priest had some great stories working with Larry in the '80s. Oh wow, when they were at Marvel. Oh, that's cool. Stabby Road Game said, "Remember how every toy came with a teeny booklet for every other toy/toy line?" Yeah, and a lot of it was like prototypes, and you're like, "What's up with like He-Man's stomach? It's like a weird color."
Oh man, getting obsessed over the prototypes. My brother and I were ordering all those toys. Oh my god, you would see, like Star Wars prototypes that didn't exist. You would never be getting your hands on it.
Right, you didn't know that it was like
Right,
early
but we were like,
shots,
oh,
like really good.
we would search through the stores for like
Yeah,
whatever. I don't have a specific example, but whatever Boba Fett that has, that's like that has like a red dot on his
right.
forearm or something.
Which would have never happened because the factories you wouldn't be able to produce that much with that much. It would have cost too much probably to do that type of paint job.
Exactly. It's like, but you're thinking like this must be real as a kid. You're like, this is a version of it that I want. Why can't I get it?
Yeah, God, I love that stuff. Our big thing in at that age was when the Marvel Comics trading cards.
Oh yeah, like the Marvel masterpieces and
Yeah, yeah, and like but the one with like where you would have like that type of stuff got me right into Marvel Comics cards. Like the ones where like it wasn't even the Marvel masterpieces that came for me later, with the Brothers Hildebrandt, but the
yeah,
the
those are
ones
the
where like you
best.
had the power ratings on the back. Do you remember that one? It was like
I don't know.
agility, intelligence, strength, durability, and it would have a power rating for every character.
Okay,
And
I
you'd be
think I
like,
remember these.
dude, it's like, there's no way. And he would just go to school
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
just he'd be like, this is like Darkhawk is way better. Like, just like way better than Dazzler, man. Look, check this out. Look at the projectile. Straight done that.
yeah. They were almost making up stats. I mean, maybe they were legitimately talking about them, but what they were doing for real was like creating schoolyard arguments. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, Wolverine's got this many power points. He would totally.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, Dr. Mondo said I just entire sets of those from around 92. That's it. Yeah. Right. They'd have the power rankings. I think overpower came after. I think. Yeah, at power rating 10 there was a star at the end of the line. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That stuff brings me back.
It's good stuff, man. It's what got us into art,
Yeah, essentially.
So mm, I don't know how. Yeah, it's all just being aware like that. I wonder what I think. What is that for today for kids our age today? I would say video games, right? Would have to be.
Well, anime is super huge right now too. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah,
was big.
anime.
It was big when I was a kid too, but that was like Akira
Yeah,
and Ghost in the Shell days, like late '80s,
yeah.
early '90s.
It was
But
hard to find. It
yeah,
was
it was
hard to
like
find.
it was constant bootlegs. And now it's massive. It's just yeah, YouTube clips too. Yeah, you're right. In the chat.
Yeah, but I guess it turned in terms of like art. I guess YouTube's yeah. It would have to be YouTube. Um, because it's so much. I mean, video games for I was hugely influenced by video games. I might not have been renting like inappropriate stuff from the video store, on purpose, but I
Rated
was
R
playing.
movies.
I was playing Mortal Kombat, and pulling out all the pulling out spines and breaking people in half or throwing them into like a guillotines. It wasn't like it was. I think it was just as bad.
Well, there was some. Oh man, I don't know. We were watching bad movies, but there was a lot of crazy animes out there too. So
Oh yeah, yeah. My the first well Transformers the movie was my first. I would consider that an anime. I mean, it was Japanese produced, right?
yeah, I think. Well, and I think the opening was from a Japanese studio, but I'm not sure if the whole film was done in a Japanese
Ah,
studio. Just because it was Hasbro. They imported the toys, but they didn't necessarily import the cartoon show.
yeah.
I could be totally wrong though. There's a whole YouTube special I think on that. Not
I
YouTube,
gotta
sorry,
watch that.
Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the toys that made us. They have a whole one on
Oh, yeah,
Transformers.
yeah, 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 yeah. The Toys That Made Us. Yep. So they talked about the movie though.
I think they might have talked about like the opening to the movie because it was that same studio that did the opening to GI Joe movie, and I
Ah,
think yeah, I might be speaking out of turn here. I'm not sure.
yeah. Well, I mean, like, here we go. I mean, like, okay, here we go. Nick DeLuca said, "Seeing Star Wars: The First Unleashed got me into art." And Rex Verdi said, "I
Oh
had the
yeah,
book had a book of Edgar Allan Poe that was illustrated by the Hildebrand brothers back in the day." Wow, that's
dude,
pretty
that's a good.
cool.
This is actually a good line of discussion. Is do you would you say there was like a singular thing that kind of pushed you over the edge into art?
Yeah, yeah,
And what is it?
100%. Comic books.
But like, is there a specific like a singular thing? Like, are we talking like one particular comic book that did it, or like a page in a comic book that did it? Like, is there a single image maybe
Um,
that got you there that was like,
I, th-
whoa, this is crazy?
I think the comic cards did that because my friends that were getting into art were all of a sudden copying them, and I was like, I can't believe how good this stuff is, and I would just want to copy everything. I think later down the line, when I wanted to become like what set me on the path to becoming, having the career that I have now, I would say it was a DVD special of uh, 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 it was a documentary on the Brandywine artist that was on Treasure Planet DVDs, the DVD for the movie, the animated movie Treasure Planet, the Disney movie that basically flopped and got everyone fired.
Dude, I never even saw it. I contributed to the flopping. I'm ashamed.
Yeah, and so now it's like a cult movie. But then also video games too were like it was kind of I mean like man, seeing like box cover art for video games and then 3D and oh my god, man.
I'm trying to pinpoint like the exact.
But I don't
I
know
would
if
say,
yeah.
well, if you're saying, I don't know if I had a singular image myself, but those Art of Star Wars books. You remember those?
Oh my god,
The
yeah,
three
man.
black books that were for
Yeah.
not you know they they must have been put out in late '80s, maybe early '90s, but they're all black, and they have like
Was
the
it?
old Ralph McQuarrie drawings on the covers, and they just said the art of Star Wars, the art of the Empire Strikes Back, and the art of Return of the Jedi. And I didn't know how to buy them. They didn't have Amazon or anything. I would go to the library and I would rent it out. And I would
Wow.
often get there and it would be rented out. And I'd be like, damn it. Because I just
Wow.
wanted to sit there and pore over the drawings.
Wow.
That was a huge one
Yeah,
for me.
that was interesting. I don't know if I would. I think it was definitely like comic book specifically. Since we were in the '90s, I mean, like that realm of like Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri, um, and Rob Liefeld. Even I mean, the guy was awesome in X Force. Out of all the X Force stuff, um, love that all that stuff. Specifically, there was a Silver Surfer artist by the name of Ron Lim
Oh,
who I
yeah, yeah.
absolutely loved, and I think that's, I mean, his Silver Surfer was like, he was like my favorite artist um, when I was growing up. So, and I would just, that's what I would do. I would look at through that stuff all the time, especially like I got the old, either somebody gave them to me, like old comic books that they were just getting rid of, and it was one of them was the Marvel Universe handbook where they just have the characters and their bios
Yeah, I remember that
and
book.
they're like fully illustrated. Man, I flipped out when I saw that stuff. I was like, I just couldn't believe the artistry, and some of the stuff was like, Dave Mazzucchelli's in there, freaking Frank Miller's got some old school drawings in there. It's just not, and they're not like who you think they are, who they are now, but they were like just copying a Marvel style, and it was just wild to see that. Mike Mignola.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that like iconic
Mhm.
artists when they were working for a studio. The like one that stands out for me is Adrian Smith.
Yeah,
When you look at his when he was working heavily for Warhammer 40K,
yeah,
it's like his
yeah.
work looks a certain way, but the stuff he does now on his own, oh my god, it's no offense to his work that he did for Games Workshop, but it's just a million times better. It's incredible stuff.
Well, you turned me on to that era, like that type of art. Like Carl Kapinski when he worked at Games Workshop, and
Yeah,
specifically Angus McBride.
yeah, yeah.
His
When he
stuff
did
was
old
nuts. And
when like I don't know if he did Games Workshop stuff ever, but he did all those manuals back then for
right, the manual.
like
Sorry, yeah,
Vikings and
right.
this actually answers someone in the chat. First time viewer, Dead Fox. How do you get reference for armor? Well, Angus McBride books. No, that's a great place to start. But this is an excellent question, and we're about to go into a huge rabbit hole. If you're willing and able,
Well, I'm
Ray.
I'm down. I just want to point out. Okay, uh, this is a great discussion topic, by the way. But Nicole creates just said legend did it. And I don't know if I want to pause what you're saying because I want to go down and talk about that.
That's okay. We can bookmark. We can bookmark.
But I but we will, like, and like you
I
know.
would agree
So
with Legend. Legend was a significant event for me.
which I didn't watch until you showed me that.
That's right. That's right. I'll take 100%. I'll take all of the honors for that.
Yeah, and thank goodness, because then I would have actually, had I not seen the proper version of Legend, also known as the international cut,
Yeah.
I would have been forced to sit through the Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, Kate's not in this stream today, so she can't hear
No,
you
but
talking about it.
I'm very afraid of what Nicole's going to say because Nicole's probably along the same lines. Um, no, but it's all good. Yeah, it was a beautiful movie.
It's the greatest. It's one of the greatest. It's super hokey, obviously. Now, if you watch it, it's a little bit hokey, but
Yeah,
it's got Robert
but that's
Picardo as a giant like swamp monster. That's Robert Picardo in that suit.
you're kidding me.
That's Robert Picardo, the
I
Doctor
think I
from Star Trek
the
Voyager,
doctor. Wow, wow.
and the cowboy from a great movie called Inner Space from the '80s. Really good movie. But it's got everything. It's got one of the coolest demon
Star Trek
designs.
First Contract.
Wait, Robert Picardo in Star Trek First Oh yeah, yeah, he is in the opening.
Yeah.
Remember when Star Trek used to reference its own shows?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was incredible, incredible.
legend all the way.
Yeah, yeah. Now I will say, okay, I'm gonna go down
God, we've
because
talked
I
about
love all
legends.
these things,
We've talked about
dude.
legends so many
We
times.
should. I did do a legend drawing, right, of Tom Cruise.
Yeah, and
Did you do a thing of
I'd
the
started the
dark?
Darkness and I haven't finished it. It's like sitting on my painting rack. I probably should finish Darkness.
Oh my God! But Bruce,
Oh yeah, Inner Space with Dennis Quaid. I'm talking about that in the
oh
chat.
God. Well, Bruce said Michael Whalen and Keith Parkinson art books were specifically what pushed me towards illustration. Wow.
Oh
We
yeah,
got the
Waylon,
we. Do you
legend.
remember when where did I see my first Michael Whalen? I used to just see his book covers all the time. I didn't even know it was Michael Whalen, but I remember seeing his book covers
Yeah, it
in
was like
Barnes
fantasy
and Nobles.
stories, fantasy tales. Those books.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like crazy stuff, you know. Awesome, you know. Dr. Mana said, "Did you know that Jim Lee streams on Twitch on the weekend when his schedule allows?" Yes, I do know that.
Yeah, I saw that
That
too.
because he doesn't stream on Wednesdays because Jim Lee's incredible. Um,
Yeah, thank goodness. I
yeah,
think we picked
you
perfect
know.
day.
So
No one else streams. Hopefully.
you know, Laura Agavazi loves Treasure Planet, and was shocked that you didn't say that a single magic card didn't inspire you. Inspire you.
Well, I mean, so it comes in phases. I will say there the big one for Magic that inspired me probably to become an artist was Melissa Benson's A Nightmare from the original Magic release. All time favorite, like piece of Magic art, and one of my all time favorites. I say there's a lot of Magic art I like, but that one definitely sent me down the road. So yeah, it's hard to pinpoint. Like I there's a lot of vectors for me. One
Yeah,
is like D&D and Magic art for sure got me into being an artist, but also I've movies. We talk about movies so much on here, like the Stan Winston special effects got me into being an artist. Just fantasy movies in general, which were like few and far between at high quality when I was a kid. There weren't a lot of like great fantasy movies, and even though they were like hokey, like Krull or even Legends, pretty hokey. Those still like drove my imagination. It's just hard to like pick one single thing. That's why I
yeah,
was
but you had
asking Ray that
asked.
because I wanted to see if he had one single thing that kind of drove him to be an artist. What were you
And
saying?
then hey, you put me in a difficult position,
Yeah, I
and then I
wanted to
had
put
to
you in a
answer your
hard position.
question.
I wanted to challenge you.
So, okay, well, here we go. You know what? We should bring Kate in, just so, just interrupt Kate, whatever she's doing, and just have her read this thing from Nicole. I love both because Tantra Dream is nostalgia. Okay,
Yeah, that's
respect,
okay. That's Kate's
but
argument.
the director's cut is OMG.
Yeah, it's superior, highly
Huh?
superior.
That's what I'm talking about. They cut
Yeah,
out. Remember the dance with the dress, the black dress. Come on, man.
that
Yeah.
the first time I saw that was I wish they did these editions more because they don't do them. But it was this DVD like special edition box set that like tri-folded
Yep.
open, and in it was this like you pulled it open and it was this wide like 3-frame piece that opened up like paper that had like the track listing and all that chapter listings, which they used to do in DVDs. And in the middle is Tim Curry in the darkness costume, all the makeup and everything, like standing like wide stance with his huge cloak and his huge staff with his like horns pointed up. And they're saying in the behind the scenes that he was like nearly 15 feet tall when he was in that
Oh my
full gear.
God.
But they have inside the DVD case, they had this full shot of him. I remember they made a really cool case like that for Bram Stoker's Dracula, another favorite movie of mine.
You know, I haven't watched that yet.
What?
I know you gave me the DVD and everything.
Holy shit, dude.
I know.
I think
I
it's on
know.
Netflix now, so check it out. It's so good.
No, I gotta watch it
It's
on the
Francis Ford
DVD. I mean, that
Coppola, man. Watch that.
I
Yeah, watch
know.
that grainy ass DVD that I ripped in 2008.
I didn't say rip. No one said anything about ripping anything.
Oh yeah, I would never do that. Never have, never will. Okay, so we gotta go. We gotta sidebar to armor here really quick because
Okay, armor. Sorry,
we
my
were leaving
fault.
people
My
hanging
fault.
here. I'm obsessed with armor. There's actually a lot of books you can get that are just medieval armor, but pay attention to like periods. I think it's really important to like pay attention to when armor was used and what it was used for, because that lends to authenticity. Oh boy, what did I do? Did I screw up the whole stream? No, I didn't.
No, you're good.
Okay. It like kind of lends to authenticity, like what the armor's from. But I prefer to actually go to armories and take photographs because you can get really cool angles, and they're not like you can. I mean, the lighting's never great in those armories, but you can just get better angles and more detailed shots of armor. So the Met is a great place to look at armor in New York City. There's a really
Yeah.
if you can get over to England, there's an absolutely incredible armory in Leeds. Might be the greatest armory in the world. There's a great armory in London. It's kind of near Trafalgar. I'd say it's like 20-minute walk from Trafalgar Square. If it's called the Wallace Collection. I think I took like 10,000 photos when I went there. But if you
I've never
can't
heard of that
find
one.
those, oh, it's great. It's got I don't know. They probably have like 4 or 5 thousand swords,
Oh
and they
my
even
god.
they even have, and it's just this little house. Not a little house. It's like a mansion, but it was clearly someone's house, and now it's a collection. And they have art and ancient manuscripts, and but mostly it's like swords, medieval weapons, armor suits, which they call harness, but they're called full armor suits or armored harness. And then they have horses that are armored in there, like mannequin horses, and they have like a huge collection of like the crazy elaborate flintlocks that were late Renaissance weaponry. But if you can't, like, it's all these museums are great and they have great stuff, but if you can't get to them, because a lot of them are in Europe, um, there's a number of pretty good books on just armor, and I don't know them off the top of my head, unfortunately. I have one over there, but I can't see it from here. It's in my bookshelf. But you'll find them in that sort of coffee table section at Barnes and Noble, and they're usually like arms and armor. Those are pretty good. They actually have some pretty good detail work on ancient armor. But another great one is just like Googling museum armor or armory, medieval armory armor, and you, as long as you're like phrasing it in such a way that you're getting stuff from museums and not from video games, because sometimes when you just put medieval armor in, you're going to get video game stuff, and it's like completely the wrong stuff you should be looking at. Look at the source material as opposed to what you're going to see in video games, because that stuff's made to be rigged on models and not. Um, I don't know. I haven't seen too many video games that do medieval armor well.
Hmm.
No offense,
Interesting.
video games.
No, yeah.
All right, but now back to Legend. Let's talk about Legend again.
No, that's it. That's all we got. We win. That's all I need to know. Uh, but yeah, so let's see. Oh my God, the lighting in Legend is impeccable. I agree, Rex Verdi. Nick DeLuca 96 says, "Have you guys put any more thought into doing a portfolio review episode?" Boy, um, that's something I think we talked about a little bit. It's I guess it's just logistics and the type. I mean, Tyler and I, yeah, that's something maybe down the line we were thinking about doing, but nothing,
Yeah,
nothing too soon. Nothing in the pipeline for that. Just because of, I think it's a lot. It's a lot of time, and we have to structure it so it's, um, so it's equitable too. So that we're. It's always hard, because it's like your portfolio is a very general word too. So it's
yeah.
going to be a lot of like the review will be like, what do you want to do? You know,
That's the hard.
um,
That's the hard part. The feedback is kind of important. Like
yeah,
just seeing. This is definitely something we want to do for sure. But we're trying to sort of talk out logistically how it could work. Because an in-person portfolio view is great because you can ask them questions. Like if they have, you know, it's not just about the work that's in there. It's the work's a big part of it, of course, but another part of it is the purpose. So oftentimes I'll see portfolios that have everything under the sun in there, like from work like this right in front of you, like sketchy stuff like this to full illustrations to concept art, and it's all in there, to like classwork to still lifes to anatomy studies, and that's not how portfolio should exist. So being able to put those questions forward, which I guess we could do through the chat, I just feel like it would be a lot of back and forth reading. But it's important to know that because that becomes part of the feedback. If we know what you were doing it for, part of the feedback becomes like, okay, well, you take this out because this isn't relevant to, if you want to work for this type of client and you take this, you'd put more of this in, or if this one's good and you want to work for this client, you're going to do a whole bunch more of that. So, yeah, there's a lot of back and forth that I think would be missing, and maybe there's a way to do it. We just got to discuss it some more, I guess. So the answer to your question
Yeah, yeah.
is no, we haven't put any more thought into it, but we're thinking
Outside
about
of
it.
the thoughts, yeah, we're thinking about it. Um, let's see. Oh, that's right. I had heard one of the goblins from Legend was based off of Keith Richards. I think in the behind the scenes they talked about that, right?
Yeah, the one
The guy who's like comes by the fire, right?
with the
He's
really
got
long nose,
the
that
really
one.
long nose. Yeah, yeah. Oh my god, that just like splashed a memory back in my
I love that because
mind.
there's like a quote that one says that I used to always quote.
Yeah,
Kate and I still
yeah.
quote that one. Blix, that's
What's
it. Blix.
Blix, right? What's the
It's like
what's the quote?
it's like something about like black as midnight, black as pitch, fouler than the foulest, or something like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Higher, higher burning fire, make music like a choir. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. That's so good. Well, Nicole's on point for
Wow.
this. Um,
Dang.
if anyone hasn't seen the behind the scenes for Legend, you've got to check it out. just the like, just seeing the history of Ridley Scott movies up to that point. Like he'd done a historical fencing movie first, then he'd done a I don't know. I mean, he'd done two sci-fi movies in a row, Alien and then Blade Runner, and he didn't. I guess he was chatting with a writer about like, I want to do a fantasy movie. We're gonna do a fantasy movie,
Yeah.
and they just
Yep.
made one up, just some
Yep.
crazy one up, and
Yep.
I don't know. It's got
And
so
they did
much
a
like
test
iconic
shot.
weird stuff in it.
Well, they did a test shot on Blade Runner's dime,
Oh yeah,
and that
that's right.
became
That's
like
right.
the freaking unicorn
Yeah, yeah, the
in Blade
unicorn.
Runner, which is nuts, you know?
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was just
Okay, this is starting to work
oh,
for me
let's
here. This has got sort
hey,
of like a Seven Samurai feel to it, but I'm liking it.
I like it. Well, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that,
No,
man.
nothing wrong with that.
Arcbane said in response to your armor, um, Arcbane said, wait until you see ours. I've spent countless hours making sure our armor concepts are historically accurate. Right on, man.
Oh yeah, nice. What's. Are you even allowed to talk about the project?
Yeah, I think it said Arcbane said the project, the video game is called Tyler is Wrong. The video game.
There's one God, I forget the name of it. It's like called Kingdom something, but it actually has like legit like long medieval longsword fighting in it. Like that's really good looking. God, I can't remember the name.
Is that
Doesn't help.
the dueling one?
There's a lot of dual. It's like open world medieval game, but it has you can hold a lot of the actual longsword stances, and it's pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kingdom
I ain't
Come.
got
I
it.
think that's it, Doctor Mondo. I think it's called Kingdom Come.
The Alex Ross special?
Yeah, one of my favorite comics, by the way.
Yeah, that was yeah. Like Avazi said, I thought Kate was making quote unquote Tyler was wrong. Tyler was wrong at Secret Door. That's funny.
Yeah, that's right. She is at Secret Door, but that's not the game.
Arcvane said it's called Wayward Realms. The studio is Once Lost Games. You're referring to Kingdom Come Deliverance. Oh, sick.
Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's got some
Hey, Arc.
legit armor in there too. It's good. I didn't mean to
Well, best of luck,
generalize. There's a lot
Arcvane.
of good stuff out there, but yeah, I can't wait to see the game. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been
Hey, Lord of the Rings.
into the Elden Rings lately. Ooh, could start talking about video
Oh, you
games.
you started that,
I did.
dude. That's I'm watching people play it. I'm like, yo, this is a lot of time.
Yeah, I've never been a big Souls game player. Dark Souls, the From Software stuff, but
Right.
god damn, it's just such a really cool open world they did this time that I'm suffering through the impossible gameplay. It's so hard.
I'm so horrible about like I totally missed all that all the Souls games and everything like that. I'll tell you the last From Software game I played,
Dark Souls?
Armored Core.
Wait, what's that one?
It's on PlayStation. It was mechs.
Oh shit. I didn't even know
Yeah.
they did that. That's
You
awesome.
you don't even know. You don't know nothing,
I don't
Tyler.
I know all the Ralph Bakshi movies, I'll just tell you that.
I was watching that. I was watching that
Oh,
back. uh, checking the audience. Well, it's Inside Baseball behind the scenes. I watched the stream. We both watched the streams back to make sure there's no issues production wise, and
and there's all
It clipped
kinds.
on that. It's like I know all of. I love Backstreet Films.
What, it clipped on that? Amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. Like I just hit a random area.
Oh, you did.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I scrubbed across, and it was like it was so funny. Uh,
Oh, we got another question from
okay.
Lord Adornable for armor design. Okay, so are you saying is there too much historical accuracy? Is there such a thing as too much historical accuracy? I would say no, because I still don't. I haven't seen it too much in movies where they've actually gotten it really good. I kind of want to see more because I think there's good stories to be told. This is something I've talked about with my friend Ari, who was a writer for D&D for a while, and he's into medieval fighting just like as much as I am, medieval combat and all that stuff. And I think there's some really good stories. We both agree there's really good stories to be told if you were to get really accurate with the weapons and armor and combat systems, because it's, I don't know, there's just a, I think there's so much more you can talk about, so many more interesting challenges to the characters and the stories if you were more accurate. The one thing that they do, like in Braveheart or in most medieval movies, is like there's so much hack and slashing and everyone's just falling over. That just wouldn't happen. Everyone had armor on. You aren't cutting anything. No one's falling over from you just swinging your sword at them. So there's more challenging gates, I think, that you can create in a story if you're a bit more accurate to the history of it. So yeah, I don't know if there's too much. I mean, it could get, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you can get, there's too much of anything, right? You can get to too much of anything, but in this particular case, I think it would only be great. It would only be better for the story and the development of the story if you got more accurate.
Well, at any point would it ever run into? Well, I guess that's the way it's then. It's a story that has to be good about it, right? Because then you can. It's like video games that are simulation games that are like it's ultra realistic, but it's not even a good video game,
Right.
and so
I
it's just
mean,
boring.
yeah, I think you're right. That's totally true. Really, the story is all that really matters. But
Right.
I
Well, it's
think
like what your friend had said, though, right? 'Cause you said that he has said that he thinks there's great stories in that you could write great stories by enhancing that comes from as a result of having more historically accurate medieval combat.
Right. And I think I'm a big proponent of like constraints. Like great movies are made under constraints. Great stories are told under constraints. So, I think, obviously I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. So, I think, the constraints that Tolkien put on himself by making a really deep universe, those are constraints you have to adhere to now because you've developed a universe that has depth and reality to it. So now you have
Mm-hmm.
the constraints of the world. Um, so you could make any kind of medieval movie with all kinds of people fighting each other with swords and have fun. But I think the really cool stuff occurs when you add the constraints of the history, like the historical accuracy of it. And you can do that in anything, like in any storytelling scenario. The more constraints you add, like I think movies that are were under budget, like in the '80s, were better because they had so many constraints. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but I think that there's a lot that can be done if you add those constraints to it, and it's not like we don't know what life was like in that period. We know a ton about it, so it's an easy way to already have. You don't have to build this huge elaborate George R. R. Martin universe or Tolkien-esque universe. Like we know a ton about the medieval period. It's there. You can tell all
Well,
kinds of
that's
stories in that universe.
I think that's the thing that we were talking about that last stream about uh, sword fighting in particular, and we were talking about how I was referencing that video with Corridor Digital about the how they hired an actual sword master to design a lightsaber fighting style that's
Yeah,
realistic,
yeah,
you know, and like in the first second he's going through the Star Wars footage and it's like you wouldn't do a double backflip with this thing on, because you could slice your hand, it's like, or you wouldn't be swinging because you don't need to move the lightsaber all that much because it's freaking plasma, so it's not
right.
even that much fun, it's like there's greater realism, like if you put a greater realism on, the stakes are higher because no one, there's all these stages in combat, the testing out period, and because no
Right.
one wants to get cut by this thing, because they could die
That's a good way of
instantly.
putting it. The stakes are higher. That's it right there. Like that that's a perfect way to put it. When you're more realistic, the stakes are higher.
Yeah, and that was totally he referenced the duelist.
Yeah.
He's like, you want to see actual sword fighting? The closest that I ever got was the duelist,
God, he
and
does. He mentions the duelist in there. That's awesome.
dude, he's this freaking sword master. You
Yeah, the
didn't watch the
duelist.
thing,
I haven't
and
watched
I
it yet.
sent it
No,
to you.
you sent it to me. I haven't
Just
watched it yet. But
what have you been
he's
doing?
right,
Playing
man. The
Elden Ring?
duelist. You got to watch. Yeah, I've been playing Elden Ring. But yeah, that's it, man. It's the duelist. Like, watch the duelist if you want to see good sword fighting.
Yeah. And he breaks it down. He was breaking down the footage. He's like, those people, they don't want to get cut.
Yeah, and then
You
that's
know?
why you see they like the first duel in the duelist. Harvey Keitel's holding this like really strange stance, because it's like an actual fencing stance because he's trying to not get cut. He doesn't want to get cut by the other sword. So I don't know. There's that stuff's great to me. I love that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
there's also a place for crazy like slashy movies. Like Hong Kong action movies where there's less
Oh
realism.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It just like I don't know. My gripe is with I think with is with Star Wars. The way that it's almost become like a parody on it. Like the but I'm a product of like Empire Strikes Back where it was like a heavy sword and you needed both hands
Yeah, and they were
to
being
wield
like really
it.
cool and calculated in that. It's hard
Yeah.
though, man. I mean, I think we've had this discussion. We could gripe about Star Wars all day long, but it's hard, man, to compete with Irvin Kershner and The Empire Strikes Back. It's just like really well done movie.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, for sure. For sure. I wouldn't want to follow it up. Um I wouldn't want to follow it up at all. I would have just actually we do follow it up with Livebrush. We do it
Yeah,
every
we
day.
did. We're doing it right now. Take that, Lawrence Kasdan. We're
Yeah.
bringing you Empire Strikes level quality here.
Uh, let's see. Yeah. So Dr. Mondo said Tyler will watch your video once you watch his DVD. That's true.
Yeah, the DVD of Dracula. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Dracula.
Holding
Yeah,
that
yeah,
ransom, man. Holding that ransom.
yeah. And then, you know, Nicole brings up. I'm just going backwards, actually. You
Oh, it's
know.
fine. I missed a bunch.
So, well, actually, our Fat Baron goes. It really helps push the drama knowing that the sword deals a few seconds of violence subtly. All the posturing and story leading up to it subtly matters so much more. Yeah, agreed. And Arcbane said it's like using a limited palette. I like this analogy. Limiting your color choices can often lead to more bold and interesting creative choices. Boom.
Yeah, that's great. It's exactly a perfect analogy.
And then
For some
Nicole,
reason it reminded me of Braveheart, not Braveheart, Rob Roy. I don't know if you've seen Rob Roy, but there's a fucking
oh,
awesome sword fight at the end of that is pretty good to like the period and then the way that I'm not going to give it away, but check it out. There's like a practical shift. Like there's this idea of, a gentleman fences this way, and if you don't fence this way, you're a coward or whatever, a cheater.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
really
for
great
sure.
sort of play around with that concept of like you have to fight a certain way. It's that whole like Bruce Lee's
Or Bushido.
Jikundo
You know?
stuff. You have to fight a certain way, and but that's not true, right? Like Bruce Lee said, you just
Right,
fight to win. Who cares?
right.
Um,
The best style is no style.
yeah. Anyways, I'll cut you off. What were you saying?
No, Nicole brought up a good point. Can we talk about how everyone wants to use swords, but no one talks about spears? Yeah, you know what? If I'm going into one of those battles, I'm having a short sword, but you best believe I'm picking up a spear
It's a
because I don't want to be anywhere near.
it's actually an excellent
Uh,
point that Nicole brought up because in that period, like the medieval period, almost everyone used spears. The sword was like the really rare item. They were expensive, hard to make. If you were going into a battle, it was spears all day long, and spears like kick the crap out of everything, anyways, including swords. So they're just not as cool on screen. They're not as sexy. A spear is nowhere near as sexy on screen.
what about short ones?
I mean,
300
I'm not saying I'm not speaking for myself. I think like that,
gladiator.
like in Game of Thrones when Oberon was fighting the mountain and he had a spear. That was awesome. Like they did really
Yeah, that
good
was
spear
pretty
work in
sick.
that.
Yeah. And let's see. Uh, Monkey, I said, you mean Christian Bale's Gung Fu? Gun Fu wasn't real?
Oh yeah, Equilibrium. That was a great movie.
Dude, I have not. I've seen the thumbnail for it, but I've never watched it.
It's cool. It's like the elevator pitch or bathroom pitch, whatever they call it, would be. It's like Fahrenheit 451 meets The Matrix.
Okay.
And there's something else in there. I could throw something else in there, but it's mostly like that. It's like obviously it was made like right after the Matrix, so the fight scenes are like, oh, the Matrix, but the whole story is this like culture that it's not allowed to have art, and there are these guys that go hunt down and destroy all the art, and but then they have this like really silly gung fu fighting technique. Sean Bean's in it. He dies in the beginning. Back,
Whoa, dude. I didn't say I wasn't going to see it.
it's Sean Bean, man. He dies in everything.
Yeah, actually really does.
He's
Huh.
always dying.
He actually is. For England, James.
Yeah, he
No,
dies in
for
that one
me.
too.
For me.
First movie I ever saw him in was Patriot Games, and he died in that.
He was in Patriot Games?
Yeah, he's like the Irish, like like IRA dude.
Oh,
He's like the
okay.
main
Oh
villain.
my God. Dude, wow. I got to rewatch that. I watched those movies when I was a kid.
Yeah, Dr. Mundo. Yeah, emotions were banned. Everyone was taking like pills to suppress their emotions. It reminded me of The Giver.
Oh,
Actually,
like
it was like the it was
Clockwork
like The
Orange
Giver
style.
meets yeah, and Clockwork Orange. We really just talk about movies in this podcast, don't we? It's not even a
Dude,
podcast. Why
yeah,
do I call it that? It's not a podcast.
because it's a vodcast.
It's a podcast.
Well, people are watching this after the fact too, on YouTube
That's true.
and on unlimited time on Twitch.
We can
Shout
make
out
it.
to all the people in YouTube
Yeah. Shout out to everyone on YouTube. Thanks for giving us all those hits and subscriptions. We
and just
could
hanging out.
make like a podcast, but there's a lot of visual stuff in here that would defeat the
Dude,
purpose.
I don't have time. You don't have time. I mean, you just started Elden Ring, for goodness
Yeah,
sake.
I'm retired at this point. I'm gonna stop doing all my regular work.
Take you 4 days just to get through the character creation screen.
Yeah, I did. I spent a good amount of time on the character creation yesterday.
Dr. Manda said an entire podcast of, quote, I wish you guys could see this.
Yeah, look at this. Oh,
Yeah,
look at
pretty
that.
awesome.
Oh man, if you just looked at this for 2 seconds, you would know how to become an incredible illustrator. That's all you have to do, though. Just look at it for 2 seconds.
I love this. The Fat Baron said he survived Ronin, and Rex Verdi said his character's outsized ego didn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did survive Ronan, but didn't survive
But
the Lord of the Rings. Spoilers, everybody.
yeah, or Game of Thrones.
Or yeah, but that was early on. He was in this movie right around
Spoilers.
Game of Thrones called Black Death. Didn't survive that.
Oh my God, that's right. I saw that movie.
Yeah,
What did you think about the armor then?
it was all right.
it's like
I
it's
mean,
like a pretty low
last
budget made in Eastern Europe, like written all over it.
yeah,
Like it looked pretty low budget. Uh,
I think it
it's
was.
like
I don't know. It
yeah,
was
but
like
it was sick though. I enjoyed it. I
it
thought
was
it
like
was
Viking level, like Vikings level armor
yeah,
design.
yeah, 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 and also production quality. I get it. I'm down. You know, it's no it's not like the Bruce Willis fake movie factory
I gotta watch
that
some
we
of
were talking
those.
about last.
Yeah, I gotta watch some of those.
Well, I was walking. Where I told you that I sent Tyler a photo. We were talking about the Bruce Willis fake movie factory. Um, that was so wonderfully discussed on Red Letter Media's Half in the Bag episode, recent episode. You should go check it out. Um, but I
Not
was
now, of course.
no, not now, not now.
Stick around.
The next day or 2 days ago, 2 days after the our stream, I was walking by a Walgreens and I saw a red box, and right in the red box was one of those movies of Bruce Willis,
Oh my
and
god.
he was in for 15 seconds, and I took a photo and I sent it to Tyler. It's like an omen.
Um, the thing is, I love watching shitty movies like that, so I'm
Me
gonna
too,
get that.
yeah, but so did the red letter guy, media guys too.
Yeah.
They love that stuff, and they said they were awful.
Oh, I'm sure they're
They
off,
weren't
but they have
even.
a whole brand on watching shitty movies. Best of the worst,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, best of the worst. Yeah, and they create it. They said that it looked like the same people that made Space Cop made all these Bruce Willis movies.
Space Cop.
Yeah, that they're do you remember their movie they made?
Yeah, yeah. I only watched a little
Yeah,
bit of it.
yeah.
I honestly had to turn it off. It was so bad. But
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was. I saw clips from it and I could barely get through that.
man, I kind of like where I've landed here.
Dude, it's looking good. I'm seeing it right here. That's awesome, man.
I might like it. I don't know. I might hate it tomorrow. We'll see.
Just get rid of it. Just don't save it. How about that? Boom.
Yeah, digitally gone.
Alt F4 or hit the power button on front of your
Yeah,
computer.
just smack the power
It's right at
button.
the edge of the rainbow. Yeah, that looks great.
It's got a little Mifune quality to it.
Yeah.
I'm Kurosawa films, but it's this like character from this book I've been reading, and I kind of want to do it justice. We'll see. I'm not going to give away who the character is, so don't
I already
ask.
know. I already know who it is.
Don't tell him.
It's it's the novelization of Robot Jocks.
Oh man, I wish they would do that.
Achilles. Right? Is that what his name was? I forgot.
Dude, I can't even remember. I need to watch that again because it's been a long time.
Talking about
Oh, Dr. Mundo
crappy
knows.
movies there.
Dr. Mundo's on all these references.
Let's see. Yes, Achilles. Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
The rest of the chat's like, oh my god, talk about art or something.
Robot Jocks novelization. Don't tease me like that, Ray. It's cruel. Oh my god. Can you imagine? It actually has like an incredible backstory too.
I'd be
But
surprised if there wasn't one because that was from the era where they made novelizations of everything.
yeah, that's true. That you know what? I remember seeing people getting me because I liked Star. They knew I liked Star Wars. They got me the novelization of
Yeah,
the
which
original
are
Star Wars
good. Those are
movies.
good.
Yeah, they were great, man. With like Biggs is in it, like in the
Yeah,
beginning, like
there's like a little
watching the Death
more.
Star duel
Oh right, yeah. Those
from
are actually in
space.
the mangas that I have too.
Really, you know that they filmed those
Yeah.
actual scenes, which is crazy.
Then George Lucas's wife saved the day and edited all of that
Yeah,
garbage
thank
out.
goodness, thank goodness. Ex-wife,
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
ex-wife. And
Yeah,
she saved the
yeah,
day back
yeah.
then.
But
Like on all
she
three of
saved the
those
day.
movies, she saved the
Won,
day.
did she win an Oscar for it?
I don't know, for editing, I assume. I don't know if they gave the Oscar. I was just this came up the other day because I was watching because they have a show. Netflix has that movies that made us, so they got a bunch of '80s movies on there. And I was talking with Kate about this. It's like in every single case, I can't even think of an exception, but in every single case, the movie was tanking really bad, and some woman came in and saved the day. Like she was either a producer or something, but they came in and
Probably
saved the day and
uncredited.
got none of the accolades, like
Yeah,
none of them.
uncredited. Yeah, yeah.
For like
Oh my
also
God.
like for example, like Halloween was like saved by a female producer. Um, the set, like the crew for Aliens, for James Cameron's movie, they were gonna quit because he was doing it in England and they wanted their tea time and all kinds of weird stuff. And Cameron was like, "No, we work every day, all day, and there's no tea time." And they were all going to quit. And so Sigourney Weaver came in and saved the day and was like, "Look, James, you need to like these guys are part of the production too. You gotta help them out just as much as you gotta help me out."
Wow.
And it's like every movie after movie after movie is like that.
Well, Rex Rarity said there's a Robot Jocks novel, and the prices are out of control.
Oh my god. Well, we gotta get that. We'll
See,
read it. Be
I told you. I told you. I'm
spoken
feeling
word.
something in the air. I was feeling something. You know what we should do? We should start a fund to buy a copy, an original copy, and then just read just a chapter
Yeah,
every stream.
I would. I would watch that. Be like Andy Serkis reading the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's right. He did the book on tape, right?
Yeah, and he did The Hobbit, I think, to start, but then I think he's been recording the actual all of the Lord of the Rings as well, which I would listen to all day.
What a crazy career, right? He kind of started the whole mocap as an actor thing when you think about it. And
Yeah, he's a huge contributor to it.
now that's actually a career. Like see all video games, with
Until they're replaced with robots.
they're not gonna replace them with robots.
They're gonna replace us with robots.
You can't replace our movie knowledge.
That's true.
I mean, your Ralph Bakshi knowledge alone.
Alone, that alone, it's gonna be tough. They're not gonna be able to
Come
figure it
on.
out.
They're not gonna be. They will figure it out.
I know all of his movies.
There you go. Monkey House said, set up a GoFundMe to make sure it ends up in the Google Free Library. Done. Yeah, that is true. Oh my God, Dr. Mondo said a used paperback on Amazon for $300.
What? Okay,
Rex Ready
there's some
said
crazy used
$30
bookstores.
USD.
There's some crazy used bookstores in Seattle and Portland. I'm gonna track this down. What's it called? What's the title?
Rex Ready said $30 USD on thrift books. Man, that might show up in like pieces, you know? Oh my God. Wow. I gotta look this up,
That
man.
used to be actually a pastime of yours and I. Like we would find crazy books and that had amazing covers, and we would send pictures. Like I sent you that. It was like a David Grove Moby Dick cover or something.
Yeah.
This used to be something
Oh
we would
my
do all the
God, you're
time.
right. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. And then he had like the Chech, like all the different types of we would do that with movie posters too, like the international editions. Remember like the Total Recall for it was like Polish or something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was like the
I think
craziest.
that started. I think that started because we used to go to that Escape from New York pizza down near Market, the one that's not in the Haight Ashbury district.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
they had that huge like Spanish version Escape from New York movie poster. I don't know if you remember
Oh
this.
my
We used to go
God.
eat lunch
I
there in art school.
really. Oh, why am I blanking on this?
Every once in a while, I'll find the one. It'll ring a bell once I find the poster, but it's a good
Well,
one.
the poster is the one where they're like he's looking up,
No,
and
this one
was that the
is
one with
like the Statue of Liberty
Statue of
is like
Liberty
smashed in the middle of the street, and
in the
he's kind of
background?
running
Right,
towards the camera.
right. Yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
A
Right, the
great,
Spanish one.
a
Right.
great poster. I think it was Spanish. It could have been something else.
Or the Craig. Have you ever seen the Craig Nelson Back to the Future poster?
Oh yeah, he posted it the other day actually.
Yeah. Was that the Australian version?
Man, Drew Struzan really nailed it on those. No one else
Yeah.
got to do anything.
Well, it's just a
Man, okay.
ba- bananas premise, right? I mean, when you think about it, like, I think about that. I think about some of his posters, and I'm like, what? Like,
Dude, this is why you got to watch those movies that made us thing on Netflix, man. You're gonna
oh,
love it.
I've watched it. I've watched it.
Oh, okay. Because the Back to the
Yeah,
Future
I've
one's
watched
crazy.
it. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I watched that whole thing. That was a crazy premise. Period. Like, I don't know if many, you know, movies that big start out with a completely different actor, main actor.
Yeah, Eric Stoltz for that one.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a question in the chat from Dead Fox. How often do you use reference when sketching? Um, it depends on the purpose. If I'm just doing stuff like this, I don't use any. I'm just trying to find cool shapes. But if I'm sketching for like concept work, it's usually tons and tons of reference that have already been gathered for the project on like a mood board or something, because we tend to be like have smaller targets for those concept pushes, and so you need all the reference around you so that you're not going down. It's cool to find cool shapes, but if it doesn't adhere to the overall project, then it's kind of defeats the purpose. So yeah, I
Right.
surround myself in reference in those cases.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, what I've been faced with when I do illustration work, that's the same thing. If it's specific, if it's a specific world, with specific elements, then I gotta be, it helps to have reference up so you could, get specific with the shapes, but nothing's really direct. Like I'm just sort of like the camera is untethered, so I can go anywhere I want. Uh, so I always think about like a filmmaker. Like I don't lock down my camera. I try not to lock the camera down too early on.
Yeah, I think that's
I
a
don't know. Does
good.
that make any sense?
I think that makes total sense. It reminds me of I was chatting with. He was in the chat a few weeks ago, Kieran Yanner, and
Yeah, yeah,
he does a lot of like he'll build out his scenes in Daz, and then he hasn't nailed the camera down at all. He's just building an interesting scene and grouping the characters in an interesting way, and then he starts moving the camera around and moving objects around to cast shadows to get all those happy accidents. And
you know
I
that's
think that's important.
that's like what I really want to build towards. Like I love that idea of getting elements in. It's just it takes a long time to kind of you might end up using not using a bunch of stuff that you put in, you know.
Yeah, you waste a lot of time,
But
which I guess, especially with stuff you're working on, like you get the happy accidents by going out and photographing things in the world,
yeah,
and
right,
so to
right,
make those things and get all those happy accidents in a digital space, I think there's a lot that could be done there. But yeah, there's also a lot of potentially wasted time.
right. And you could tell, I mean, but it at the same time it just speaks to like how, you know, willing people artists willing to go through that. You know, it shows in their work and Kieran's stuff's like incredible. So you could, you know, it's like, oh, you know, definitely doesn't happen out of nowhere. And that's something I'm totally willing to do is put in more stuff than I care to use because I'd rather have more options than less. You know, when it comes to like, oh, what if this would work here? What if that would work there? What about this element? You know,
Yeah,
um,
and it's kind of, I mean, it
it's like
goes back to what we were just talking about with like editing movies. There's a lot that's left on the
right,
editing room floor.
right, right, or like yeah, or like a director that wants to see 10 variations on a single costume, like with a sash, without a sash. Oh no, put that on, put that off. You know, and so you got all this like you know, not only the editing that's left on the floor, but just unused props
Yeah, and
and variations on things.
it's
You know,
putting those energies in the right place, right? It's
right.
it doesn't cost as much time and energy wise to sketch those things out and do like concept plates for those things or do like color comps or whatever, small sketches. But it does cost a lot to do a finished painting that so it's like putting the energy in the right spot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love that's why I love 3D so much because it gives at least you know the way I think about it, it gives me the opportunity to work, you know, fly around like and come up with angles that I would never know how to that would never pop in my head. Like I don't draw things from above a lot, but I would consider it looking, you know, from above looking down. I would
Yeah,
consider it if I could, you know, take my camera there, you know, and shoot that down. That would be interesting. Like, oh, okay. And in 3D, it's afforded me that, you know,
that's right.
uh, that opportunity. So it's like having a little like. I used to do that as a kid. I used to set up my action figures fighting, and then I would just imagine myself as a camera and like looking at all the cool angles, like getting really low
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
looking at it from there. You know, I think it
Yeah, that's cool.
might kind of yeah, it was brilliant, man.
You're a
I was a
brilliant kid.
genius.
What happened?
Before the accident, before the dark days, before the empire. No. Yeah, so
Oh man.
Rex Ready said question, given how much you love movies, have you ever listened to the Junk Food Cinema podcast?
No, I haven't.
I have not. You know, I a good friend of mine's has talked about I think has talked about that and then also we hate movies is another one that I you know keep getting recommended from multiple people. But yeah, geez, my
Dude, I haven't heard
podcast.
of
When do I
either of
listen?
these.
Yeah, so there's some like comedians and stuff on We Hate Movies. They did they would do uh like breakdowns of like even old movies, like the original Michael Keaton Batman.
Oh my
You
god.
know,
I love that movie.
oh, it's like incredible, and they're comedians. You know, like making fun of it. You know, but they in a loving way. Like they just absolutely love it. You know, yeah,
Wish
it's
you guys
pretty
could see
funny.
this right now. You can't see it on my screen, but my dog is like jumping up on me to she wants to eat dinner.
Well, we got 8 minutes
We do
left.
have 8 minutes. She's like, she's on time. She actually knows. But I keep feeling her like jump up and like punch me with her little nose. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
Dog digression.
It says Robart jocks. uh, let's see here. Agabazi said we can't. In response to the computer's taking us over, we can't replace your ability to pick out 5 crosswalks in a picture set of 12.
Yeah, that's right. That's the AI
Dr.
will
Mondo said
never get us.
Dr. Mondo said Gary Wood has been teasing his next project, which is something about giant mechs.
Ooh, I'm always into that. I like Pacific Rim too. Hot take, but I'm saying it right now.
Del Toro killed it. The second one's a hot dumpster fire.
Oh
There, I
yeah, I
said
didn't
it.
even
Hot
see
take.
the I didn't even see the second one, but I should. But now that you
Yeah,
said so, I won't.
don't. I kind of regret it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of regret it. I loved it. I love the first one, man.
Yeah, it was like weird and fun. It was exactly what it needed to be. It reminded me
Dude,
of a John
Idris Elba.
Carpenter movie.
It totally did. I was just gonna say that. It has this like old school feel to it, like of like implied backstory. Like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god, yeah. Like
That's the
remember
thing I loved
and it's
about
like little
John
scenes.
Carpenter was like is it's always movies are always exactly what they are were made to be. They're not trying to be anything else. They're just trying to be a weird movie.
Do you remember the scene with like the like how the I forgot the Japanese actress's name, but she's recalling her like what happened when she was a kid and how her parents got like uh like a building fell down and she was running and there was an attack, um
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
she's just running with her shoe, and it's just like this beautiful moment. It's like a kid be freaked out, like they just would grab anything, like they don't know what the heck's going on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just didn't expect that from like Pacific Rim, and then like Idris Elba's character about like, oh, it's so great, man. I love that movie.
Yeah, it makes me want to watch it again because I haven't seen it in a
Yeah.
while. But I just remember walking out of the movie being like, "This movie ruled," and then
Yeah.
immediately after, was like, "That was stupid," and I'm like, "Come on, it was fun."
Well, see, Rex Verde and Dr. Mondo, okay, tell you not to. So like, don't Tyler. The second one made me very, very angry. Dr. Mondo said they ruined so many characters in the second one.
All
Yeah,
right,
they
I won't
did.
do it. I won't do it. So it's a
They
Highlander
really.
2 scenario is what we're talking about here.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah, I said it. Highlander 2 is garbage. Everyone,
Sean
F
Connery
in the chat.
was in
Help me.
was in the Highlander too. Okay. All right. So just have a little bit more respect.
I know that Sean Connery's in it, but he's in Highlander 1 as well.
I just love the part where he's like gonna get crushed and the bagpipes come in with the magic.
Oh my god. God. This is why we're not supposed to be
Okay, it
talking about
was
Highlander 2.
was bad. It was bad, but Oh, you see, I would watch. I would rather watch. Rex already said I would rather watch Highlander 2 on repeat for a week than sit through that movie again. Referring to Pacific Rim
Pacific Rim
2.
2. Okay.
Yeah, it was bad, man.
Noted.
It was really bad. I was just shocked. I was shocked. You know what's a great sequel to Pacific Rim? Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that either,
That's
but it looked cool.
it's
It
just
looked cool.
it's just like, well, Pacific Rim should have ended. Period. Right? That was it. That was the end of the story.
Yeah, that's it. We
Right?
don't need
But
sequels, Hollywood. Don't they get it?
if
We
you ever
don't
wanted
always need a
to,
sequel.
but
Sorry,
if
go
you
ahead.
ever wanted to have like a payoff, the sequel that had a payoff, I think Kong versus Godzilla was exactly what you are looking for when if you like Skull Island.
I did.
Uh,
I thought Skull Island was fun. That was cool.
yeah, so it's Kong versus Godzilla. I think it's just
Okay.
absolute fun, just fun,
Sometimes
really well
movies just got to be
done.
fun. Big
Hey
Trouble in Little
man,
China.
I'm down for Big Trouble in Little China was a masterpiece, though.
Yeah, well, sometimes really fun movies become masterpieces by accident. Because John
I
Carpenter
gotta.
wasn't like, we're going to make a movie called Big Trouble in Little China and it's going to be a masterpiece.
Do you remember Kurt Russell's when they interviewed him after and on the DVD that you had lent me? They talked about it how like this screening was so good. It was the best screening like rates, the pre-screening rates when they pre-screened it. It was like the report card was out of this world, and the studio thought that they had a hit on their hands, and like Kurt Russell like at first was like it's a fun movie with John, I just like and then they're like he didn't think anything of it, and then the press started talking to him. Was like, this is like a really big movie. I mean, what do you think? It's going to be like probably the hit of the summer. And he's like, well, and he laughs at himself saying like how he instantly turned into like, well, we always kind of knew we had something special with this movie. He was just like talking at nauseum about it. I think it was maybe in the commentary
Oh yeah,
track over
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
I
And it's
think I
just
remember
like,
that commentary track because I think they made all those behind the scenes that we watched in school. We were in art school. They made them all around the same time because
oh yeah.
it was it was like the one for Alien, no, the one for Terminator 2 and Terminator. They're interviewing Michael Bean, and then the one for Big Trouble in Little China, they're interviewing Kurt Russell, and both of them, both actors, have their Tombstone mustaches. Like they're on the set of Tombstone.
No
Interviewed
way.
them about those movies.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I love to, I think
Yeah,
it's
Big
well
Trouble.
documented.
Everybody,
Anywho,
we're saying it
oh
now.
that
Big Trouble in Little
oh
China
that
is amazing.
that is a great way to end this stream. So Tyler, I'm gonna be continuing to paint on this. I'll see what if my schedule dictates it, but I might either finish it off camera or finish it on camera or keep working on camera depending on what I have on the easel. But it's been a lot of fun. So I've been Ray Bonilla. You can follow me on Instagram at raybonillapainter.com. You could see my more of my work at raymondbonilla.com. And who are you, sir?
I am Tyler Jacobson, and you can see more of my stuff at tylerjacobsonart.com as well as my Instagram, which is at tylerjacobsonart. And if, for those of you who ordered my book, should be shipping out pretty soon. We should be getting the shipment this month, so stay tuned.
Yeah, we're
Fuss
gonna do a stream.
Publications, Art of Tyler Jacobson. So,
We're, we'll definitely do a celebration stream for that. I think
oh yeah,
that's a necessary thing. So, and thank you for everyone in the chat. It was for the conversation. I thought it was awesome. Love to see it. Looking forward to next week for more of it. So, and those watching on YouTube, thank you so much. If you give us a like and consider subscribing, we would very much appreciate that. And also consider following us on Instagram at Livebrush. We post. We're starting to post more stuff, but we share a bunch of artwork, and we also just post cool things that are happening for Tyler and I, or any new pieces or any new projects that we're wrapping up. So, thank you again, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
thanks everybody. Have a great week. See you next time.